host, Adam Krieger. Um, it's about 12 o'clock. Clock just turned to midnight, past midnight. We're in Friday. Round one of the NFL Draft just went down. Big day. Vendetta just did an entire live stream throughout the entire first round. So I was fortunate enough to come in around pick 15-ish, right after the Jets, right after everything kind of went down with all the trades and stuff. And I'm gonna just give a few quick thoughts. So I recorded with Andrew McGuinness. He's in the back half of the show, and we had a great talk about the NHL and a little bit of baseball and just like his journalism style as a whole. But the draft just went down. I kind of wanted to get my quick thoughts out there, see what, you know, just my quick thoughts. Yeah, I said quick thoughts about 20 times in this little monologue, but it is what it is. All right. Kind of the biggest question mark of the draft got answered relatively quickly. I say quickly, early in the round, but early in the early in the round, later in the night, like about 45 minutes later, Kyle Shanahan chose Trey Lance to be his guy. I shouldn't even say chose Trey Lance. We don't really know how that dynamic actually went down, but whatever the case may be, San Francisco has a quarterback for what seems like the immediate future, Trey Lance. This could be a big reputation builder for Shanahan. If everyone, like myself included, they're big. I'm a big Kyle Shanahan stan. I think he's a great coach and what he's been able to do, and just the ability to run the football consistently for you know throughout the last 10-ish years in the NFL, and when everything is moved to such a new style of game, he's been able to control the clock and do shit like that. And we've seen what he's been able to do with Jimmy G. So we'll see if this is the guy that Kyle Shanahan is going to stake his final claim in. We'll see. Um, so that was kind of the first major point that I think everyone talk about. Second, I got to talk about my Jets quickly. Took Zach Wilson number 2. I feel bad for the kid because he probably won't succeed because it's the Jets and everything is wrong. However, I did like them trading up and drafting the USC offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker. Um, I like pairing him and Becton on the offensive line, protect our young quarterback, give him the best chance to succeed. Um, you know, as much as I think that the Jets are destined for eternal failure, I would say it's a good sign for Wilson that this team decided to invest in linemen for him. Um, Next 2 points kind of want to lump in together. Bears traded up, got Justin Fields, and I think that was a great move for Chicago. Andy Dalton proved last year that he was not the guy to lead a team to a division title. He had a chance in the NFC East, literally the worst division in the NFL last year, and wasn't able to pull that out. So I like them taking a shot and moving up and trying to do. They were aggressive, and it's because it's Ryan Pace's and I would say Matt Nagy's like kind of final straw, their last effort to keep their jobs in Chicago, which they probably could have lost. Realistically, they probably would have lost their job this last season if they didn't make the playoffs with that extended Nickelodeon joke game, whatever. Then Patriots drafted Max Jones. I am a little bit nervous as a Jets fan to see what these two are going to duel out for the next 3 or 4 years at least. If you're, I'm really kind of stumped because I don't think Mac Jones is going to start opening, the first game. I was going to say opening day, but we're not. It's not baseball. I don't think he's starting week 1. I think that he will probably, hopefully, Cam is a good teacher for Patriots purposes, and they can try and give Max Jones some help and more in the meeting rooms and stuff that just be a good mentor. It's not that hard to do. I think Cam's a good guy, so I don't see that being an issue. um yeah, I was not expecting the draft to shake out the way it did. I really didn't see the Bears trading up. I thought they were going to, for some reason, just ride out the shit Andy Dalton wave, and that did not happen. 2 running backs drafted first round. Steelers took Najee Harris. That's the guy. And then Travis Etienne went to the Jaguars right after. So you're getting that Clemson duo back in Jacksonville with obviously Trevor Lawrence going number one overall. But my question to ESPN and the entire broadcast is like, in the entire just like draft world, is that everyone in the goddamn world knew that Trevor Lawrence was going number one. Why did we need to wait 15 minutes to get the first pick? Doesn't make sense to me. Um, the entire world done new. You know, it is what it is. All right, so that was kind of my quick NFL draft thoughts. Um, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the interview with Andrew McGuinness. Um, make sure you are checking out. If you're watching this on YouTube, you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hop around the channel, see what other videos you like. Traded a bunch of mock drafts. Obviously, those are a little bit more irrelevant now, but you can go look back and see where our draft people thought people were going to land versus where things actually went. Let us know. I am going to sneak in a little sneaky plug. I don't even know. Sorry, Trey. But if you buy a shirt in our shop, use promo code cheese. I don't think Trey will mind that I'm using this code to push merch, but Trey's got a little surprise for you. So buy a shirt, rep the gang. All right. Do the rest of the show. Have a good one, folks.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. In case you hadn't heard, your favorite Renegade Sports Media Group has its own Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media to support our efforts to continuously bring you sports, gaming, and other media coverage as only we can. We've got 4 different membership tiers. For $3 a month, we'll give you a simple thank you on our Patreon site. For $6 a month, you get a thank you and you get to become a recruit in Jackson Law's Vendetta University Gaming Series. For $10 a month, you get everything from the previous tiers, a special thank you at the end of our videos, free access to our upcoming Discord chat, and a free koozie after 4 months. And then the big dog, $50 a month, gets you everything from the previous tiers, as well as opportunities for Fantasy League invites, stream gaming, possible invites to mock NFL and NBA draft sessions, a once-a-month Google Hangout, and after 4 months, a free t-shirt. Yeah! Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media and help us to improve our pledge to bring you the best sports, gaming, and other media coverage.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to brand new episode, Kriegs Korner, Corner with K. I'm your host, Adam Krieger. Today, I am joined by recurring guest, Andrew McGuinness, one of the hockey guy at Vendetta, the best one, in my opinion, at least. Andrew, what's going on today?
Not much, Adam. You don't have to butter me up like that, but I appreciate it.
It's kind of I don't even know why. Like all the hockey people here are actually really great, but specifically, the way you write your fan stories and your game stories, it's actually kind of what I want to get into first. So for those of you who don't know or are new to Vendetta, Andrew, Flyers fan. I don't know, by choice or by birth, however you want to call it nowadays.
By geography, mostly.
Yeah. So does what's called the Flyer fan reaction every single post game. It's a great read. I read them almost every game, and I don't even really too much care about the Flyers, to be honest. But so how do you get so much done so quickly? Do you pre-write it? What do you like? What are some things you try and hit on every game?
So I should start by mentioning that the Flyers fan reaction series is based off a YouTube series by a guy named Steve Dangle, who's been doing Leafs fan reactions, Leafs fan reaction series for the last 14 years. And so he's one of my favorite people to watch on YouTube. Super entertaining guy. And he always said like, hey, like if anyone wants to do this for like their team, like I have no problem with it. Like go ahead. And I was like, well, that seems like something I wouldn't mind doing for the Flyers. Didn't want to do really video, so I decided to start writing a couple years ago. And yeah, I think it's just the fact that I know the team really well at this point. Like I've been a big fan for about 7 seasons. So the players at this point pretty well. And yeah, I kind of just try to get into a role like as the game's going on, try to figure out like what's the identity of this game? What does it mean for both short term and like the long term impact? Like how's it going to affect the rest of the season for a team or a specific player? And so just kind of like write that down as I go. So yeah. And I'm also a really fast typer, which helps.
So you just do it all like by like in real time, or you completely watch and digest the entire game?
Yeah, I used to just watch the entire game and not start writing until after, but this season I've definitely started more writing as the game goes along, which is probably why just help me get them out like a little bit sooner. Like last year, I would often like not get them out till like 11:30, or even just like sleep on it sometimes and put it out in the morning. But this season, I'd basically done like by like 10:30 every night, so
Um,
or
kind
like
of
at 7 o'clock. So
building off that, but like, how do you, which do you like better? Did you like watching it and like completely digesting game, or do you enjoy writing it as you're going? Because
I mean, they both
obviously things change
yeah,
throughout
they
the
have
game.
their advantages and disadvantages. I mean, I kind of nice just to watch a game every once in a while, and I had done that a couple times this season. But I definitely think like writing has advantages because then you don't forget stuff. Like I still like I take notes during games like to make sure like I don't like forget things like an important save or like a stat that I noticed or something like that. But if you're just writing in real time, it's a lot easier. Just like make sure you don't miss anything. So that's definitely an advantage.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because there's probably no way you read it, but so I was doing NCAA wrestling previews for the college tournament. So the first few rounds I did what you said. I watched the entire thing, took notes, and then decided to write it after. And then it was okay. It took me a long time, and then for the later rounds, I kind of decided to write it as I was going because especially it's you move on, you have your ideas, you get your thoughts out. So it is an interesting thought. So what happens if something completely changes? Do you ever take like parts out, or you just like kind of rearrange it
Yeah,
to fit what you put
I
in?
mean, yeah, it depends on the game. Like I know there were two big games that come to mind where the Flyers were down 3-0 and wound up coming back to win both those games. One was against Pittsburgh, and I changed like a decent amount of stuff I had at the beginning. The other was against Buffalo, and just the way the game played out, I literally just like left the entire stuff I was writing because I was super critical of the team because it was Buffalo in the middle of their 17-game losing streak and they were down 3-0. So I left all the
Course.
critical part in there. I was like put like dot dot dot. I'm like, wait, they won, and then just like wrote a bunch of analysis about them winning and stuff like that. So it just depends on the game, really, the flow of it.
All right, make sure you guys check those out. Another few notable ones that stand out to me are the Rangers one from early in the year, and
Talking about the one they lost by 9 or the one they lost by 5.
probably the one that lost by 9. That one was elite.
Both were equally bad and equally not fun to write about.
I
But
don't know if what that says about your writing or about like who you are and how good you are at like what you're doing is that fact that like everyone has to tune in like no matter what, like even if they want a random game early in the season, like people were tuning in to read, and also people kind of enjoyed watching you suffer a little bit.
I mean that's the goal. Yeah, I mean the goal is obviously to bring people back, and like I try to do that. I don't know like how much I succeed at it, but I mean obviously after like a signature game where like, that 9-0 loss to the Rangers, like that's a game that gets national attention. So I mean more people are just going to be looking up for Flyer stuff in general that time. So but yeah, I think I do a decent job just like on a game by game basis, just trying to make like at least like a random GR in January win over the Islanders seem like a little bit more exciting than it is maybe.
Sure. Last part of this before we get in deep dive into the NHL postseason. What does what is Andrew McGuinness' future career? Is it writing? Do you want to work in the front office? Do you like what are you trying to do?
My ultimate dream job would be to be a play-by-play announcer. Like that would be the ultimate dream. If I could do anything, it would be that. But I definitely really enjoy writing. If that wouldn't be my career, I super would be okay with that. A front office would also be super cool. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be like ever qualified to do that. Obviously, you have to be insanely smart and good at math, and I am decently smart but not good at math.
You're not
So
giving yourself credit, bro. You're at Notre Dame. Everyone knows that you gotta know a little bit, at least enough.
I, a little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think play by play is awesome. You have a good cadence, and obviously, doing the Flyers, it'd
Mm-hmm.
be a cool experience. All right, into the NHL postseason. I kind of want to go division by division, go over the
Absolutely.
main storylines, then just a few questions to kind of wrap it up. All right, I'm going to start with the East. Do we think the Rangers are going to be able to pull off that 4 spot, take it from Boston, or is there no shot?
Nah, I mean their odds are pretty low right now. So looking at the standings, the Rangers are 4 points back of the Bruins, but the Bruins do have 2 games in hand. And obviously Boston has been on another level really since Taylor Hall got there a couple weeks ago. They've won 7 of their last 10. I mean, to the credit, the Rangers have also won 7 of their last 10. So New York's hanging around, but it just feels like they're just running out of race track right now at this point. And I do think the Bruins are the better team. So I would expect Boston to get that last spot, but never say never.
Going off that division, there's two teams up at the top. Caps Penguins, they're a point apart. Obviously, the Capitals are the Capitals, and they have Ovechkin, and now they added Chara, and they're big names. But of course, the Penguins have a guy named Sidney Crosby, who
Yeah, he's a
is
big name too.
is obviously when you're doing these sub tournaments inside of your division, the seeding is going to matter, and whoever gets that one seed is obviously going to deal with the 4 seed, which is either the Bruins or the Rangers. Who, what, how is that going to shape up? What's it going to look like? Who's and
Well,
then
I
is it a
would I
good
would say
thing?
in the East, whoever gets the one seed in the East, it probably matters the least. Rhyme not intended. Just because if you look at all the other divisions, like in the Central, there's a very clear cut top three. Like there's a 12-point gap between 3 and 4. In the North, there's a pretty big gap between like Toronto and Edmonton. There's a 7-point gap there between 1 and 2.
Right.
In the West, there's a big gap between Minnesota, who's 3, and St. Louis, who's 4, 15 points. But if you look at the East, there's only a 6-point gap between the Caps, who are first, and the Rangers, or the Bruins, excuse me, who are in fourth. So that division is probably the closest of the four, just going 1 through 4 between those teams. There's not a ton to separate them. So, I mean, the one seed is obviously important. I mean, you want to have home ice for those first 2 rounds guaranteed. Um, but I mean, whether the Capitals or Penguins get it, I mean, they're both going to have a really tough road getting out of the East Division. I mean, whoever gets it, even if the Islanders or Bruins somehow sneak it out. Um, yeah, I mean, I think the one seed matters, of course, but it probably matters the least in the East Division.
It's interesting though. Yeah. I feel like it's going to be no matter what, the Capitals come postseason time make it are a wagon, and despite not never actually winning and whatever, they still have the guys.
Well, the Capitals won in 18.
18. Yeah.
Yeah, they won the cup in 18.
All right. Move to the Central. My division. Canes
Yes.
are in first place. Like you kind of mentioned before, there's such a big gap between 3 and 4 that all three of the 4 spots are already clinched. So this obviously is the one where it matters the most. But do you think that
Yeah.
Tampa is going to end up edging out the Canes for that number 1 seed, or
Honestly, I don't think
or the
so. And that's
Panthers? Honestly, but the Panthers to
yeah,
me are
honestly, I
irrelevant.
mean, Lightning have a better points percentage than Florida, but Tampa or Florida does have one more point. But the thing with Tampa right now is they're a pretty battered team. They're without Steven Stamkos. David Savard didn't play on Tuesday. They haven't had Jan Ruda for a while. Obviously, Nikita Kucherov has been out the entire season, not expected to be back until the playoffs, at least. So, I mean, Carolina definitely has the inside track to that spot. They're 3 points clear of Tampa, 2 points clear of Florida with 2 games in hand. So I definitely think the Canes are in really good position. They've gotten points in 9 of their last 10. Um, I do think Carolina has the inside track, and with so little time left, only 7 games left for the Canes and Lightning, and only 5 for Florida. I think Carolina should be able to take care of business and get that one spot, which, like you said, is obviously huge in the Central.
Yeah, I hope so, especially because dealing with the Lightning in the first round of the playoffs is not like the best. It's a tough team to have to be the beginning and then go through your entire playoff.
Yeah.
The rest
Plus,
of
we
the
would
remaining of the
get
bracket.
right now we're on pace to get the first ever Battle of Florida in the playoffs, which would be pretty cool. Panthers, Lightning.
It's kind of crazy that the Panthers are here. I know that
Yeah, absolutely.
just like what they're hockey in the South overall is definitely getting better, even though
Mhm. Absolutely. I mean,
Florida,
last year in the final, look at it, Lightning Stars,
yeah,
2 small teams.
even though the Panthers probably don't have like the fans down there, Tampa is winning, so that gives you fans no matter what. But
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
building down there, especially what they're building in Carolina. All right, out west, is Vegas the favorite to win the entire thing at this rate?
I mean,
Like,
they're sure playing like it right now. 10
yeah,
0 and 0 in their last 10 games. Hottest team in the NHL, no doubt. Huge win last night for them over Colorado to open up a 6-point gap for first place in the West. If the Avs had won that in regulation, deficit would only be 2, and Colorado does have a game in hand. So that win doesn't officially clinch first in the West for Vegas, but it kind of de facto clinches it with so little time left in the season and the gap that they've opened up. I mean, they've got a plus 60 goal differential, which is easily the best in the NHL. Looking at it, I don't think anyone. The Canes are second at plus 42, or the Avs are plus 47, so they're second. But
right.
I mean, Vegas has been an absolute wagon basically all season. They've got tons of star power. They added their depth with getting Matthias Janmark at the deadline. I mean, they're a great team and a team that's built for playoff hockey as well. A team that can play a very physical game. So I don't know if they're the clear cut number one favorite, but they're certainly in that short list of cup contenders, no doubt.
All right, we'll finish up north. Toronto kind of sort of running away. I mean, they did run away with the number one seed. Is it is this the most like kind of preconceived already over division of the group?
I mean, I would certainly say that it feels like it's Toronto's to lose, and it feels like it's been that way for a while now. That hasn't stopped Toronto from losing on similar opportunities before over the last couple of seasons. I don't think a lot of people won't fully trust them until they actually see them go out and win a series for the first time since 2004. But I mean, they've been a pretty consistent team. They've had a couple big losing streaks. They just had a 5-game skid, but now they've won 3 straight to kind of alleviate that concern. They're the only team that's clinched a spot in that division, which they did last night. And they're doing with it some key guys injured right now. They don't have Zach Hyman up front. They lost Zach Bogosian on their back end. And of course, their starting goalie, Frederik Andersen's been out for over a month now. So, I mean, Toronto definitely looks like the best team in that division, but definitely, I mean, you obviously don't know what can happen in a playoff series. So,
But do you think that like Toronto fans and the organization should get credit for this as like a actual playoff series win, or do we
Yeah,
need to see
absolutely.
them win next year because 16 teams versus 8 or
Well,
not?
I mean, it's still going to be a playoff series. It's still going to be an absolute war and a best of 7, probably. But the Montreal Canadiens, it looks like that's who they're going to play right now. It should be a great series between those two clubs. They haven't met in the playoffs since the 70s, so great to kind of reignite that rivalry a little bit if that's what winds up happening. But yeah, if Toronto wins a series or 2 or 3 or even 4, absolutely counts. I mean, they're playing the hand that they're dealt. I mean, Montreal, whoever they're going to face, is definitely not going to back down easily. I mean, I'm a Flyers fan. I can tell you the Flyers played the Canadiens in the first round last year, and yeah, Philly won, but Montreal gave them a tough time, and the Habs have only added to their roster since then, getting Tyler Toffoli and Eric Stahl. Of course, they just called up Cole Caulfield the other day, so it's definitely not going to be easy for Toronto to come out of the division, and if they're able to, or even if they just went around, they definitely deserve credit.
Foley's Trey's guy. I don't know if you've been paying attention to Hockey Eye Trey and his fantasy hockey endeavors the last 2 weeks, but
A little bit.
he's when he screams these guys' names, it is one of the more funny, like awkward, funny things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's gotten into it.
Yeah, he's been really into it. It's been funny to
I've
watch.
never even done fantasy hockey, and I'm pretty diehard, but
I'm
amazing.
getting like the rub off of the knowledge because I'm putting the videos together for him like at night and stuff. So I'm getting all these videos and seeing the scores and the goals. I was like, oh, like I'm kind of starting to
Yeah,
look at all a bit more. Like this kid Robert
yeah,
Shaw from Dallas is just a
yeah. Robertson, he's
stud.
been
Yeah,
great. I mean,
whatever
he's
his name.
challenging Minnesota's Kaprizov for the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. All right. What is the one team that you don't want to see come playoffs? Like maybe a 4 seed that you think might upset, make it
It's
to
like
like the final 4. Like, yeah, who don't you
a
want to
dark
play?
horse.
Yeah, like give me a few of them if that makes sense.
Okay, well, I think the one that jumps out to me right away is the defending Western Conference champions, the Dallas Stars. They're technically not in playoff spot right now by points. They're 2 points back of Nashville, but they do have 2 games in hand. They're just ever so slightly ahead if you're looking at points percentage. I mean, the Stars basically, they have not been healthy all season, but they should get Tyler Seguin back soon. They might get Ben Bishop back soon as well. They've had a couple players just talking about Jason Robertson. He's been unreal for them the last month. Rupe Hintz has quietly had one of the most improbable great seasons of any player. Not only has he played outstanding this season, he's been doing it playing hurt for most of the year. So I definitely think the Dallas Stars, I mean, we saw it last year. They're a
100%
big
agree with
physical
you with
team.
that. They were the
They're
team that stood out to me that I did not want the Canes to play in round 1. Like I'd rather it be Hurricanes Nashville, like for as a Hurricanes fan to try and make it past round 1 and
yeah,
shake off like the playoff cobwebs because the Stars, like you said, being there
yeah,
and smelling that air last year, blood in the water.
Mhm.
All
And the
right,
other
who
thing is
else?
Dallas is getting hot at the right time too. They've got points in 8 of their last 10, so
Yeah,
making
yeah.
them plus.
What about? I feel like the East is like anyone. I wouldn't be surprised to see
Yeah,
any one of those teams.
absolutely.
Maybe
It's a free
maybe
for all.
maybe probably the Islanders. I know they are legit, and Trotz is a great coach, but I
I'm gonna
probably
say
see
the
the
same
Bruins
thing.
coming out over the Islanders.
I'm going to say the same thing I said about the Islanders. I said about the Habs. Flyers fan, I can attest the Islanders are not an easy out. And honestly, come playoff time, that team is basically impossible to beat unless you have legions of superstars. Just because they play their structure so well, it is impossible, it feels like, to get them off their A game once they find it in the playoffs. And that's exactly what happened in the bubble last year. They found their A game in the qualifier round, dominated the Caps, dominated the Flyers, and gave the Lightning a pretty tough test in the Eastern Conference final. Honestly, I would not be surprised at all to see the Islanders make it out, even if they're probably the coldest team, looking 1 through 5 in the East right now. All of those teams have won 7 of their last 10, except for the Islanders, who are 4-5-1. So I guess you could say they're maybe trending a little bit in the wrong direction, but I certainly think they're a solid team.
I know Emma is going into like the Islanders fan life, but my experience with
Yeah,
Islanders
lucky
fans is
her.
like the trashiest. Like I got into, they jumped me at the state in the game
I remember you told me
3
about
last
that.
year. Crazy. Got my stretcher torn apart, the whole nine. Wasn't even my fault. So I have a little chip on my shoulder when it comes to hitting the Islanders. Yeah, I just think. So, what is the Final Four, and give me your Stanley Cup champion. I know we kind of did this last time, but I want now we're almost at the end of this year.
All right, so I'll go West. I'll go just by looking at the initial standings. West Division, I've got Colorado coming out of that division. I just think
Wow.
they're the best team on paper in that division. Vegas is really good. Don't get me wrong. I think honestly, Vegas and Colorado are probably 1-2 right now in terms of best teams in the NHL. By points, they're certainly close. I think Vegas and Carolina are 1-2 in actual points.
Yeah, they're
But
been going back
the
and forth.
Avs have just such a deep team, both up front and on defense. Phil Grubauer has been quietly very good for them all season long. They would have beaten Dallas last year if they literally didn't lose like half their team due to injuries. Like in Game 7, they didn't have their captain Landeskog. They were down to their third string goalie. They had a couple other injuries. So as long as they can stay somewhat healthy this year, I would definitely pick them to come out of the West. And
All
then,
right.
all right, moving on to the Central now. I've got your Canes, the Panthers, and the Lightning as the heavy favorites. And I hate to do this to you, Adam, but I think I got to go with the defending champions here. The fact that the Lightning could get Nikita Kucherov back for the playoffs, and they've already been one of the best teams in the NHL this season, even if their last couple of games haven't been trending as well, although they have won 3 straight now. But before then, they were only about 500 for the last couple of weeks or so. But Tampa's just such a tough team to beat. I mean, they have stars absolutely everywhere, tremendous depth. This is the last year they're going to get with this team before they have to make some significant changes due to the salary cap. So I think they're going to go on another deep run and make it a good one. Looking at the East Division now, I mean, we've talked about it a couple times. This is the hardest one to predict. Obviously, all those 4 teams are only separated by 6 points right now. Caps, Pens, and Bruins both have a ton of star power. But I mean, they're getting up there in age. Man, the Islanders just maybe it's just a nightmare from last year's playoffs. But I mean, they are such a tough team to eliminate once they find their stride. If someone's going to kick the Islanders, are either going to go out in the first round or they're going to go to the final. They're either going to go out in 4 or 5 or win the East Division.
No in
And
between.
I think I might go with the latter. I don't know. I mean, they're a really good team. They added Kyle Palmieri at the trade deadline to replace Anders Lee. They have tremendous goaltending from Varlamov and Sorokin. Honestly, I probably trust their goaltending the most of any of these 4 teams. It's them and Boston. Rask is pretty close, but honestly, I probably trust the Islanders goaltending a little bit more, and that's why
Interesting.
I'm going to
Interesting.
put them on those phones.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, Semyon
North.
Varlamov has been really underrated, in my opinion, this year. And then the North Division, obviously, you got the big 3 right now. Toronto's a little bit of a step ahead of everyone. Then Edmonton and Winnipeg are in a good spot. And then Montreal looks like they're on the front lane to get that 4th spot. I don't think it's going to be as easy as a lot of people think it will be, but I do ultimately think Toronto is going to get that last spot. I mean, it feels inevitable with how much talent they have, and they've added some more grit. They kind of did what Tampa Bay did last year in terms of, all right, we have all this skill, but we can't get over the hump. Let's add some grit. Let's add some sandpaper. Let's bring in Wayne Simmons. Let's get Zach Bogosian. Let's trade a 1st and 2 fourths for Nick Foligno to kind of round out our team a little bit. I don't know if they're going to go all the way like the Lightning did last year, but I definitely think it's going to help them get that first playoff series win since 2004 and at least 2 and have them come out of the North.
All right. So you got your 4. Who's holding the cup at the end?
I gotta say, I mean, out of any of these four teams and a couple of the other teams like Vegas, Carolina, Florida, any of those teams from the East are definitely threats to win the Cup. And of course, you never know when the dark horse is going to come around. That being said, I picked this team to win the Stanley Cup at the beginning of the year, and they haven't really given me a reason to go against them. And that's the same philosophy I had with picking Tampa to win last year. It wound up working, so I'm going to stick with it, and I'm going to pick the Colorado Avalanche.
That's your team, huh? Now I remember you've
Yeah.
been calling them out all year.
Yeah, I mean, their first line is one of the best in hockey. Landeskog, McKinnon, Rantanen is absolutely unreal. They have tremendous depth, both up front and on the back end. I just think they're the most complete team in hockey. I think they're a really hard team to beat. They can play a very fast game, but I also think they have enough guys with experience and enough size to play the more physical game that you usually see in the playoffs. So I think the Avs are going to be my pick still.
Right. That's the NHL. One of Andrew's other series at Vendetta, the seventh inning stretch, I think is what it's called. Seventh day stretch. Sorry, is Philadelphia Philly recap of the week and kind of his thoughts. But before we even get into like the actual Phillies, what is your like setup like for when the Flyers and Phillies play on the same day, and like when do you start like getting into the Phillies, or is it not like it's totally different than the Flyers?
I had that debate last weekend. I think the Flyers played at like 6 and the Phillies played at like 3. So I literally went this back to back. I mean, I start usually writing that Phillies, like it's a weekly recap. So I kind of know what I'm going to say before that last game of the week. I usually publish it right after their game on Sunday. So I usually have a chance to start writing the Phillies one a day or two before. And then depending on what happens that last day or so, just change a couple minor things, polish it up a little bit. Whereas the Flyers, obviously, it's pretty structured. Like I have to do it during the game, basically, and right in the immediate aftermath. With the Phillies series, it gives me a little bit more flexibility doing it with a longer time span because a lot happens in a week for a baseball team, so I can kind of pick and choose my spots a little bit more.
When is it no longer too early in the baseball season, and when can I start yelling and screaming about Francisco Lindor? Because I'm getting close.
I mean, with a star player like that, I feel like you got to give him a little bit of leeway.
I know.
I mean, if you start screaming and yelling now, like you're just going to wind up doing it for the next 14 years or whatever. You're going to drive yourself crazy.
But yeah, when does all your attention turn to baseball, or is it not like that with you? Or
Yeah, no, I mean,
one?
obviously in the summer it will. I mean, the Flyers could be eliminated from playoff contention as soon as tonight. And once that happens, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a sobering.
That'd be a great blowout when it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, it's my half birthday today too, so I'd really like it not to be tonight. If they could just hold on, at least make it to May, that would be swell.
Well, happy half birthday.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, obviously once the Flyers get eliminated, they'll still probably have a couple games left. I mean, technically, if you never know, but you basically know. Yeah, the Flyers will have a couple games left, and then the playoffs will start. So I'll probably be doing some stuff for that. Honestly, once probably we get to the first round of the playoffs, and once my college, honestly, biggest barometer for is once my semester ends here, which is my last final is May 19th. So once I get home, that'll give me a chance to kind of reset. Now I won't have schoolwork to do anymore, and I can just kind of relax, watch the Phillies a little bit more because I haven't done a chance to do that as much as I would have liked, or as much as I would like right now. So yeah, once I get back from school, I will probably start to shift towards the Phillies a bit more, but still keeping my eye on hockey, especially once the offseason starts and the Flyers and other teams start making moves.
True. All right. Last question. I don't know. Are you an NFL guy too? Do you follow the NFL or no?
A little bit. I mean, I follow it, but I'm not as into it as other people.
So the NL East we thought was going to be one of the best divisions in the MLB this year. And so far, it looks like they are the NFC East of the MLB, where they all are under 500 or pretty damn close. And all these great teams are struggling at the gate. Were we all just wrong, or are they just, are we still early?
We are definitely still early, and I understand the NFC East comparison, and it definitely is kind of fair to make, especially since it's same geographic region, so like same fan bases for the most part. But the thing is, with the NFC East, like all 4 of those teams are legitimately not very good. Whereas the NL East, I feel like you're kind of seeing a lot of teams beating up on each other right now.
Yeah.
Especially just like the way the schedule is. I know the Phillies' first 13 games, or it was only 12 because there was a rain out, but the first 12 games of their season were against the Mets and the Braves, and they went, I think, exactly 6-6, like maybe 7-5, something like that. I think it was 6-6. So I feel you're seeing a lot of that right now. And once we get into the season a little bit more, and obviously once teams start playing clubs from other divisions and the American League and whatnot, I feel like we'll see at least one or two teams separate from the pack a little bit.
All right, Andrew McGuinness, I really appreciate you coming on. I know we're getting
I appreciate you having me on.
busy
Thank you.
time. I really hope the Flyers don't get eliminated tonight, but if they do,
Me too.
when this comes out, you will also be able to go read this Flyers fan reaction. I'm sure
Read
you won't be as
madness.
chipper, but enjoy Zach Wheeler. Enjoy the rest of the hockey season.
I would gladly go.
I enjoy picking your brain about the writing stuff, and we'll see what the future is like.